All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me, as I talk about the band Heart in this video, Ann and Nancy Wilson. Um, some quick bullet points about Ann and Nancy Wilson these days. First of all, this is going to be a rough tour for them. That's my prediction. All right. But if this is on your bucket list, go take care of it. I'm not telling people not to go see Heart based on those performances from right around New Year's. They're rusty, to say the least, and Ann Wilson has lost her fastball, meaning she can't really hit those high notes. She tends to shy away. She tends to throw the off-speed stuff. For years, I'm talking probably up until like 2 or 3 years ago, I would say prior to the pandemic, she was still hitting every last high note that there was in a Heart song or in one of her solo music songs that she was promoting at the time. So I've been saying this for a while. Bands wait too long. Aerosmith waited way too long to get back out on the road. Heart had opportunities to tour. His sisters kept arguing about who should be in the band. They had these great offers on the table. They did a tour in 2019, which I think was pretty successful. And then, it just went away. And Anne was saying, hey, we don't want to do the same old thing. We need to be different if we go back out on the road. And, Nancy wanted to just be the band and do the legacy. And Anne seems a little bit disappointed in that. So before I get to what they say in this interview they did with ABC News, which, by the way, they said something very important. They said the quiet part out loud about the music industry, which I think is very important. Despite what I'm saying about Heart themselves these days, they mentioned something that I think everybody needs to hear. Now, before I get to that, here is a group you might like if you like Heart. I've probably promoted this a couple of times when I've spoken about Heart. The group is Bad Sister. Bad Sister, they are from Germany. This album is called Where Will You Go? And they were on my show a couple of years back. They were nice enough to send me the CD all the way from Germany. And I love the apocalyptic looking stuff. It's a little creepy, but I think it's well done. And again, if you like Heart, I would say Heart and like Old Jefferson Airplane, and then mash it together with kind of an 80s music background to it. That's what Bad Sister sounds like. The songs are a little dark, but they kind of go back and forth, sort of like Sweet and Sour, right? So if you like Sweet and Sour, Bad Sister, some good vocals, female lead singer, very good stuff. Now, this interview that the sisters did with ABC News, they spoke to Maggie Rulli, who I'm not really that familiar with, but this was a few days ago. And Maggie was kind of like a fangirl. She was asking questions like, what's it like to be rock legends? And the sisters are probably like, shut up, right? Just, ask us some relevant questions. What was it like in 1975 to be the only two women on the planet in rock and roll? Now that kind of feeds the Heart narrative that it was them against all the men, and they were victorious, and they overcame. And look, for their kind of music, I would have to say they were pretty much alone. But then you have to look around you. Prior, you had Janis Joplin. You had people like Linda Ronstadt. Later, you had Pat Benatar, not too long after Heart got going. So I guess it depends. I mean, you can go through the list of performers in the pop world. There are a ton of ladies in the R&B world, all of those 60s Motown groups that were all groundbreaking and all amazing for the most part. Certainly predated Heart, but if you're talking about, sort of balls to the wall rock and roll, yeah, Heart was pretty original. And the two ladies had a ton of talent, and I'm sure they took a lot of abuse being ladies. But, these interviewers, they look for opportunities. What was it like to be in that situation? Well, it wasn't good, I'm sure, but they made millions of dollars and became famous. So it couldn't have been all bad, right? I'm sure there were some ups and downs in it. But they get to this question where they ask about, or this Maggie Ruley person asks, the audience has changed and the music has changed, right? She wants to know the difference between what it was like in the 70s and 80s and what it's like today. And so the sisters kind of unloaded here and they said, well, the industry has changed as it's now unrecognizable to what it was then. Music is now pigeonholed into a million little pieces where you can just check out only the kind of music you want to hear. It's a private silos area, whereas back in those days, there was a radio station that played it all. So the sisters are speaking my language here. So terrestrial radio was really a connector, a connecting point for everybody. And we could all kind of hear the same stuff and go to the same shows and hear about the stuff on the radio. Now it's all on your phone. And so let's talk more, about it based on, the stuff you get from your phone, but everybody is kind of doing your own thing. Now, the interviewer quickly moved off of that topic and went over to the tour, which is called the Royal Flush Tour. I don't know if that's the greatest name for a tour, the Royal Flush. Yes, I know it's a hand. It's a good hand to have if you're playing cards. But I think of like a really elegant toilet over in Great Britain or something. It's the Royal Flush. We're going to the Royal Flush. But I think, the fact that they said this stuff, that the industry itself is unrecognizable, illustrates what pretty much everybody knows who lived through this music and who is constantly complaining. Now, when I started this channel, I was kind of like, yeah, nobody plays these songs anymore. And I was complaining about the obvious stuff. But now, my friend, again, who I haven't spoken with in a number of years, not because I'm not his friend anymore, at least I don't think that's the issue. But he said to me, Dave, it's cyclical. It's coming back. It'll be back. Don't worry. And it's not coming back. All right. I mean, one band or two bands that you think are kind of on the edge of a big breakthrough. And some people listen to them, but they're not. I'm talking about bands like Dirty Honey that are out there that are kind of doing okay with this, but aren't, the number one band people are talking about. That's not enough. Plus, you've got a real focus on R&B, hip hop. You now have R&B and hip hop, especially the hip hop element, being nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And what the sisters pointed out was that all of this stuff would land together on your favorite radio station. And people were happy about it. People weren't like, oh, I'm not going to tune into that radio station. They're playing too much variety. I don't like the R&B stuff they're playing. I only like the rock stuff. We didn't care if it had a great melody, had some great lyrics, something you could sing. You'd have to crank the window down in the car. No power windows. Well, in the 70s they had power windows, but not as a standard feature. So it was different, and everybody just kind of sort of connected, like they said, via the radio. But the industry is unrecognizable today. And so, maybe the sisters are gonna just do one more tour and get out of this. I think a lot of people just feel like they don't belong, like they're uncomfortable with what's happening these days. And I'm sort of one of those people, even though I think I'm connected to the music that I try to find. But then when I find it, I go, wow, this has 22 views on it. I'll share something with the patrons on the channel, and I'll be like, check this out. And they're like, that's great. Where'd you find that? I'm like, just popped up in my feed because I listen to weird things, and it just keeps giving me weird things to listen to. Weird things, by the way, that nobody else apparently is listening to. So, it's a gift. It's a talent. What can I say? As far as Heart goes, this is going to be a pretty difficult tour for the sisters. Uh, Maybe Anne will be okay. They have a lot of dates booked. It's pretty intense. And it wouldn't shock me if this was the unofficial last tour for Heart. But I like it when they speak truth, and they did. And any band that goes out there and basically says the difference between the way things were, the way things used to be, and they were better. Sorry, it's just my opinion. They were better. You could get all your music on one radio station without an app and without downloading anything. You just press a button, right? Or turn the radio on, and you've got yourself some music. That's the way you found out about all of these great bands back in the day. So anyway, folks, yeah, you can watch that interview probably on the ABC News channel, and you can hear all of the stuff about the tour and how exciting that's going to be for many people. And the interviewer, who is definitely starstruck and can't believe that she's talking with rock legends, which again is fine to some degree, but you've got to get away from the fangirl element and get to the good stuff. And the stuff about, boy, in the 70s, there were no women in the 70s playing music at all. I don't think that's true. I think there were, maybe not the exact way that Heart did it, but certainly there were women in the 70s playing music. Here's some more women playing music in the 2020s. It's just weird to say. Bad Sister, check out their album. Where Will You Go? Just, I don't know. They've got other albums too you can check out, but this is the one they sent me, and it's really good, and I listen to it from time to time. And again, if you like Heart, you might like Bad Sister, or you might not. You might think it's too Jefferson Airplane-y, but I kind of like it. So there you have it, folks. Thanks for watching. God bless everyone, and I will see you soon.